you're catching me getting pencils ready for this week's exercise, which is the, what are we on? The 5th week of drawing the face. You know this, when you're doing, if you're working with pencils, and I've talked to some of you about this, you know, all the pencils have got different numbers on the side. That one is a 8B. And of course that is a very soft pencil, and pencils need to be sharpened. And I'm kind of, I don't know, kind of think about that a lot, because you know, you want to have, if you're doing a lot of drawing, if you're doing professional drawings, you want to have a long lead at the end, you know, which means that in essence you have to use something like a box cutter like this to cut the pencil. With the soft ones that's tricky because they're very easy to break, and that also is the same with coloured pencils, which I might talk about later. They break easily. Somebody recommended this device here for coloured pencils, so I ordered it from Amazon.com. It looks like something you could use in a school, and I've just plugged it in today. So I'm going to see how that works. This box I bought from eBay, which I actually find, you know, if you are a professional artist, can be the best place to buy good quality stuff, cheaper than Amazon or anything, if you know what you're doing. And by this time I do. So I buy oil paint from them. I look for the kind of what you would call bulk oil paint, and I've done it with acrylics, you know, and I'll buy a lot, you know, like $100 or more. And considering the price of good quality paint, professional paint, if you're really into art, you can get like 50 tubes for that, and each one of those tubes would normally cost maybe $10 to $15. So if you're getting 50 tubes for $100, that's pretty good. So these pencils were much cheaper than they would have been if I bought them from a normal store. I'm just showing, you know, this is just in case any of you are going to be taking this seriously and you only like to work in pencil. This is a good make Prismacolor, and it's tricky to kind of maneuver all this stuff. It's like an unboxing here, and they came with 132 pencils. I think it was about $60 or $70 for this. I mean, I know, you know, a lot of you can't afford to do this just now, but if you get into art professionally like I have, these costs are small. You know, you will sell your work hopefully and recoup the costs. So there seems to be an extra pencil, but there's lots of pencils here. Each layer of the box, let me get this at the correct angle, each layer of the box has got all these pencils in it. Here's the top layer, which has got an empty middle section where you can set stuff, and then there's this layer, and there's another several layers. See, it's quite thick, so that's a good deal. So they say that the best way to sharpen these, because they break quite easily, is with one of those electric sharpeners. So let's try it. This is an X-Acto sharpener. It's working. Oh yeah, that's smart. You see that? That's pretty sharp. That's good. So that's what you use. I'll see if I can experiment with those later. Obviously I'm not going to do a big colour drawing just now. To be honest, I've never used coloured pencils. I also bought a lot of devices for pencil sharpening, as well as the box cutter. That's not something you're going to be taking out in a subway or anything if you do drawings there of people's faces, which I do sometimes. That's a normal pencil sharpener, 50 cents. It works okay. The only thing about it, of course, is that it's going to be dropping bits of pencil, shavings everywhere. So this one is also good, this one here. You see that? That has got a little door. There it is. So that opens up, and there's two containers here, two holes for the pencil. One is for normal sharpening, and the other one is to make the lead long, because you can get more done with a longer lead. So I've got that open. Normally you'd have that closed, and that creates no mess, and you could just draw away without creating a scene. It's not easy to draw in New York. It's not like France or somewhere like that where people love you when you draw. People are very defensive, negatively inquisitive, and sometimes aggressive over here, so you have to be careful. I wouldn't recommend you just to try that willy-nilly. I usually pretend to be reading a book while I'm drawing it, so I do it kind of subterfugiously. But I haven't drawn any faces since this coronavirus. This is another one that I bought, which was really just a whim thing. I saw it advertised on Facebook, I think it was, or something like that. They must know that I have a lot of art stuff on there, so this came, and it came in this nice little box. It's called a Hovel. I think it's from Denmark or somewhere like that, with that weird writing. But it comes here, and it's got little extra containers here which contain little razor blades. Too tricky to open up, but inside this thing you unscrew it here and place a razor blade in there, and you can use it like a plane in woodwork, and it can sharpen your pencils. But I think this really, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it was in essence a stupid thing, and it was really not worth the money, but you can sharpen away like that. I haven't really mastered it, and to be honest, it's so much hassle compared to a normal sharpener that it's kind of decorative. That's it. So once you actually sharpen a pencil, it's important to get a right sharp point on it. Like this is okay, but it's fairly kind of unsharp. So you need sandpaper, emery paper, whatever they call it here, and just use it like that to get yourself into a sharp point. Okay. And that's a quick 5 minutes on pencils. Now this week we're going to do the face, building up on what we've done before, which is the mouth. Last week we did the nose. This week we did the mouth. Now it's dark here. It's a really horrible day, raining. So I've got these artificial lights on. If you're going to do work as a professional artist, lighting is important in your room. You may not have good windows, or there may be sort of no light coming into your place. So these ones I find are quite good. They're about $20 from Amazon, $22. They've got those, I'll turn it off. They've got these special bulbs that supposed to recreate like daylight. So if you have an interest in doing art, one of these in your room will at least light up your thing, and you'll be able to work when there's no really good light outside. So that's it. That's another tip for artists before we even get into the exercise. Okay. When's it gonna start? Okay, so the mouth. Is that quite good? The mouth is basically, you know, it's not sticking out very much, you know, unless you go like that, you know, pouting out. So your mouth is going to be an important part of the face. It's not sticking out as much as the others. However, it's important to get the mouth to look three-dimensional. You don't want the mouth just to look flat. You know, when you see those mouths, I'll try and do it. You know, those cartoon mouths, or like you get in a joke shop. I must buy one and show it to you. You know those plastic lips? We used to have them at school. You just put this thing in your lips, you know, hold it, there's a little bit of plastic and it's got like these plastic lips, and it looks artificial. So with the lips, let me just quickly do it here, big, okay? You've got the top lip here, which is usually smaller than the bottom lip, although I've got a good friend of mine, his top lip I think is bigger than his bottom lip, so it's like generalizations, but they're never always right because there's so many different people. But generally the top lip is usually a bit bigger than the bottom, a bit smaller than the bottom lip, usually. I mean, you can see what it's like on my lip, top lip is like less, you know, just, and then there's a bigger bottom lip. So like that, and that's your top lip. I'm just going to do the lips here, very easy for all of you, okay? Is that visible? Yes. And then I'll do the bottom lip a bit bigger. Now every week I'm doing a kind of generic eye, a generic nose, a generic mouth. Now the point in me teaching you this stuff is that when you come to look at the mirror and see your own face, if you're not very good at drawing or you haven't practiced at all in your life, you will be able to use these generic rules to work on your own face, because there's no point in creating a face just looks like a robot. You have to create a face that looks like you individually, you, the unique individual that's listening to this broadcast just now. So top lip is there and the bottom lip is a bit bigger. I'll give it a nice, that's a nice pair of lips. So a couple of things to think of. Number one, always it appears as if the top lip looks a little bit darker than the bottom lip. I think it's just the way the light hits the face, you know, and it always appears, if you look at other people in your house or look at something on TV or something like that tonight, it looks like the top lip is darker than the bottom lip. One of those weird things. So I'm going to put, first of all, before I do that, I'm going to make the shape of the lips. Now, because the lips, I don't want them just to look flat. And because when you look at your lips, you can see that. Yeah, that's better, got the light. Yeah, if I look at my lips, I can see like little grooves, you know, or lines, you know, where the lips are. And those lines I'm going to use to give the lips puffiness and a roundness. Okay, does that make sense? I'll show you. Look, I'm just looking at the lip, and I'm going to go in there like that, and I'm making some of those. You know, the lips aren't dead flat. You know, just like a smooth piece of paper. They've got a lot of grooves in them. So those little grooves I'm using to puff out the lips. I'm sure there's no other art demonstration that uses my kind of language, but I like it simple, you know, I don't like any fancy pants talk. I like it simple. And so I'm using the grooves to give the shape of the lips, and then I'm going to, you know, if you can see here, just going to do it at the bottom, because you want them puffing out, you know, like they are. I mean, mine aren't big lips or anything, but you know, you see some beautiful big lips, and you know, it's got that fullness about it, you know, like a cushioned pillow. So there you are, and I'm going to make that with the shadowing a little bit darker at the top. These, let me see my lips. Now these are obviously not my lips, I'm doing exaggerated generic lips that kind of jump out at you, and they're not too bad. Now you've got little kind of bits at the edge here where the lips join into the skin of the cheeks and everything. Now above the lip is this business, you know, that comes down from the nose. It's got a name, you know, and I must admit it's just gone out of my head. It's something like a furricule or something like that, but I'm sure one of you will Google it and tell me. It's above the nose, above this here, this area. In some face reading cultures, they say that the longer the space between your nose and your lip, the longer the life is going to be. So there's some superstition there. So I'm going to just work with shadowing. I've recommended some students, if you only have the kind of basic pencil from Staples, you know, those typical school pencils, it's a good idea if you can get another pencil that's soft. You know, this is an 8B, a 4B is good. Remember that the numbers are on the side here, there's 8B. 4B is good, 2B is good, but you know, they give you more range because they're softer, and you can also go very hard like that, you know, and do a hard line when you need to. Now underneath the lip here, because it's coming out from the skin, there's going to be a shadow underneath the bottom lip, a little shadow there. You know, they're not just completely, I'm going to put a little bit on here of shadowing, because it's the shadowing that really, you know, really good realistic art is all about light and shade. You know, it's not about line. Line is for comics and anime, but realistic art is about light and shade. That's the difference really between illustration, which is doing work for comics or something like that, and fine art, which is exploring reality, the nature of life, and the nature of light and shade is intrinsic for art. So I'm putting that shadow in here, and you know, we'll put the side here of the cheeks. Okay. Now, I mean, I've done this really quick. You know, you can make it as good as you can, or you can make it, you know, that's a very simple thing so that you don't get scared and a little bit apprehensive about doing art. I'm not trying to make it look so brilliant that it'll make you inhibited. I want you to be encouraged and confident and happy. And you know, you'll remember the rules of the face from a couple of weeks ago. Top of the head to the top of the eyebrows, 1/3. Top of the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose, 1/3. And bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, 1/3. Because we're going to start to put this all together, and we're going to work on the canvas, and we're going to work with the paint first of all. We're going to do the underpainting before we put the flesh on top of it. And I'm going to take you through that week by week, stage by stage, so that it becomes simple and like a jigsaw, fits together until you have a brilliant picture. So don't get inhibited. So that's the nose is going to be here. And remember, you know, although I'm teaching you generalized eyes, generalized noses, generalized mouths, we don't want to end up with a whole bunch of robots, you know, as if we were in I, Robot with Will Smith, that film. We want to end up with you, so you have to look in the mirror and translate what I'm saying to you into your own face. You know, you can use a photograph, a selfie as well, or, you know, I've got these cheap plastic mirrors. There we are. There, I can see my profile on that. That's cool. So I've got these cheap plastic mirrors that I'm going to use because you know, I'm not going to break it. And so with that, I'm going to talk about the whole shape of the face. Now, one thing before I finish about getting the shape of the face, and I'll go over this again, is the eye is going to be here, and to get where the other eye is, you take the length of that eye and then you put it there, so that's the length of that eye, and then you start the other eye. So between the eyes, 1, 2, 3 is one eye. Does that make sense? So between the eyes is the distance of one eye. So you don't want to have your eyes too close together, like that, looking like a masked bandit. And you don't want to have your eyes too far apart, you know, looking like an alien, obviously. So to get the space of the eyes, you see how it's all starting to fit together? I hope this makes sense, and I hope I'm teaching it in a way that isn't too daunting, so that you feel. So the space there is one eye between the eyes, okay? But we'll go over this later. I think the recording is already at 22 minutes, so it's enough for this week. We'll go over this later. One eye, measure it, or put your fingers or whatever you like, you know, just use your eye, which is what I do. And then you have the distance of one eye to the other eye. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And the mouth, you know, it can go somewhere there, you know, beneath the nose, but not right up touching the nose, and not right down at the bottom of the chin. It's somewhere around there. You know, a lot of it you have to use your estimation powers, you know, because faces are not mathematics. There's no rules or regulations about faces. I mean, they're all random. That's the beauty of it, you know, and that's the beauty of art. It's not a book learning thing. It's a looking and learning thing. So I'm going to put the lips there, this person, and that's that, you know, and there, and the cheek's going to come here at the side. Don't forget, some of you didn't put a nose bone, so there's a nose bone here. It's cartilage, you know, when you see a person, a boxer, and the nose is broken, it's all flat. So with the nose bone, you know, you've got that center of the nose there, the nose bone, okay? And the shadows there. Chin's here. And next time I think we're going to fit this all together, but you've got one eye, space of one eye, and then you start the other eye. So after, you know, that would be in between. There'd be the distance of one eye in between the two eyes. Then the nose, remember the 5 lines I taught you last week for the nose. Made it simple. It's got a shadow there because we've got the sun here. Got a shadow there. We've got the lips. The top lip is darker than the bottom lip. I'm going to go over all this again, so don't worry. I know I'm making it kind of quick and easy, but I know if you've never done any, it's difficult. Then you can put in eyebrows and hair and all that stuff much later. You know, you can live without that. Okay, so that's us. That's all I'm going to talk about this week, because I'm going to fit in other things next week, like the ears and the neck. Okay, so that's it. We're on 25 minutes, which is more than long enough. Thank you for your patience. And that's week 5, which is being broadcast on the 1st of March. Please have your work done, which is this week the mouth. And if you want to doodle around in the face like I did, you're welcome. I know some of you are much quicker than others. And text me and email me anytime. As you know, I'm talking to all of you who contact me and giving you advice. But mainly, make sure that you text or email me your drawing of the mouth and any other sketches that you want to do for commentary that I'll give you in teaching. And have that done. If we're sending this out on the 1st of February, it should be back to me by the 1st of, if we're sending this out on the 1st of March, getting into another month, it should be back with me in the next week, so about the 8th of March. Okay, that's it for this week. At 25 minutes, that's quite long enough. I wish you all the best, and have a look at that thing before we complete. There we are. See, one eye, and the space in between is the distance of one eye, and then you start the other eye. Okay? It's a good thing to remember, and I'm making it very simple so all of you can become artists. Bye.